On this exciting episode, Perry takes a ride on a rocket, headed nowhere, and steers it towards the stars. James Coburn shows up just long enough to drink a cocktail and wind up dead. Such a good villain. It's Perry Mason's Season 5, Episode 25, The Case of the Angry Astronaut. Welcome to the Perry Pod. I'm your humble host, Jonathan Searcy. My purpose, pretty simple. Provide an audio companion to every episode of television's greatest legal drama, Perry Mason. Each episode, we give you a summary of the plot. We even compare plots with the Earl Stanley Gardner novel, if the episode was an adaptation. We give you a little trivia. Reveal the episode's theme, then revel in a Perry proverb, that's a pearl of wisdom from the man himself, before heading to the water cooler, where just like Perry, Della, and Paul, we can discuss the ins and outs of our fave legal cruise adventures. But first, say it with me, to the law library! Every time we visit the law library, we investigate a legal conundrum from the episode in order to find precedents for future cases. In this trip to the library, we ask about depositions. At a key moment in the trial, as he puts on his defense, Perry tells a witness this.
May I suggest, Mr. Owen, that your memory may be at fault? That it wasn't Eddie Lewis who told you the general had been hired, but rather the chairman of the board at Winslow Aeronautics? I have this deposition. Now, would you tell me, or shall I read to the court what else the chairman of the board told you?
Our question is, under what circumstances can a deposition be used as evidence in a criminal court case? Here's the reality of how and when depositions can be deployed. Depositions are a discovery tool used to gather info under oath before a trial. They can be used as evidence in court when you are impeaching or trying to contradict a witness's testimony, that is, to challenge a witness's credibility. Or if that witness is unavailable, that is, in place of live testimony, given certain requirements. However, in most cases, if a witness is available and is present in court, then the judge will expect that witness to testify in person, rather than having a deposition read into the record. Now, let's get to the full plot of this episode. The Case of the Angry Astronaut. Winslow Aeronautics, where hopes are high that we can put a chimp or at least Paul Drake on the moon by the end of the 60s. We open on the infamous Human Factors Department of Research, so I guess no monkeys, huh? Mr. Kendall has a memo, and he's hopping mad.
This memo, if it's some kind of joke, I'm not laughing.
It's no joke, Mr. Kendall. We need at least a week's delay.
Mitchell Heller, the test pilot, isn't doing well. So says Mr. Owen.
Hello, Mitchell Heller, our test pilot. Well, the results of our human stress runs in the last 2 weeks are completely unreliable.
Then replace him.
We can't. It's either nurse Heller along or drop him and start over with other men. We do have 2 standby pilots beginning the test series, but orienting them into the Moonstone program will mean at least a 3 or 4 week delay.
Dr. Carey defends Heller.
Heller is only psychologically upset, Mr. Kendall. It's nothing serious or permanent.
Nice try, Doc, but big money's involved here. $500 million. Backstory on Heller?
While he was still in the Air Force, Major Heller applied for selection as one of the Mercury astronauts. He was removed from consideration by his commanding officer, General Brand.
Major General Addison Brand?
Yes, that's the name.
So then we see a video of Heller, and he's saluting what the doc says is a figment of his imagination, General Addison Brand. Well, guess who's gonna run Winslow Aeronautics now? Yep, General AB. James Coburn, give us the mission, General.
Project Moonstone. 3 basic missions. Earth orbital flight, circumlunar flight, manned landing and exploration of the moon.
Brand tells us what he thinks of Heller, or should I say Mr. Astronaut. It's not much.
Major Heller or Mr. Heller, these test results confirm my considered judgment. You show no more stability or consistency on the ground than I anticipated you would in a space capsule. Stability under crisis, 100,000 miles out in space. A control panel malfunctions. How do you react? How do you fix it?
And I warn
Violence, Mr. Astronaut. Would you smash your fist in the panel?
Eddie Lewis, a PR man, has got beef with Brand too.
You take it from one of the top PR men in the racket, Mitch. Yours truly, Eddie Lewis. I tell you, there's smoke and fire in that cozy little wigwam.
Then Mitch asks for some special medicine. Help me, Linda! Help me, Linda!
Linda, that medicine, that special medicine you had made up for me.
No.
That stuff's strong. It'll stop these attacks.
Mitch, face the truth.
Linda, you've got to help me. Please help me.
And who should come a-calling while Linda's shooting Heller up but Paul Drake? Tell him about it, Mitch.
Space capsule remote control valve. Radical design I've been working on for several years off and on. Detailed drawings are in an 8x11 manila envelope with my name in the corner.
Did you keep those papers here at the plant or at your home?
Well, I'm not quite sure where I had them last. Tell you the truth, I haven't worked on or even looked at those blueprints for several months.
Before Paul leaves, he takes a look at the medicine bottle that Mitch got a shot from. It's distilled water? Well, Mitch is in a romancing mood and comes a-calling on Mrs. Bonnie Winslow, the widow of his former boss. He finds Brand there already. Yikes!
Mr. Heller.
It's all right, Addison. It's only a misunderstanding. Mr. Heller's made a mistake. I couldn't possibly have an appointment with him when I'd already made arrangements to show the lodge to a new tenant.
Well, I suggest you leave now, Mr. Heller.
I see that your tenant is carrying 2 copies of the lease. I'm sure that you'll be a very accommodating landlady, Mrs. Winslow.
Back in the lab, Mitch is in the machine. Mr. Owen's monitoring the situation, as is Doc Carey. Brand comes in and gives his evaluation.
This indicates either gross and utter incompetence on part of the test subject or a mental and physical deterioration so marked and obvious as to render his work worse than useless. Miss Fay, inform the legal department that Mr. Heller's services as testing astronaut will no longer be needed by Winslow Aeronautics as of today.
Mitch Heller goes back out to that romance cabin at Brand's bidding. Next thing we see, he's getting pulled over by Lieutenants Anderson and Tragg. And when they go to see what's going on with Addison Brand, they find a body and Beethoven's Fifth playing. What goes on?
Suppose we go inside and see him.
Enter Perry. Paul has this recommendation about old Mitch.
But Paul has that generous look in his eyes.
I think Mitch Heller is off his rocker. I also think he's guilty of sin. But I've seen his war record as a pilot in Korea. I know what decorations he won and how he won them. And I know him. I like him. Perry, he deserves the best. Yes. I promised I'd ask you to help him.
Hamilton comes in on Perry talking with Heller, and here's Hamilton's request.
You representing Heller, Perry?
Yes, I am.
Fine, I'm glad you're here. I'd like permission from both of you to have Mr. Heller examined by a competent psychiatrist, just in case we find ourselves arguing a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity.
Not guilty of what?
Murder in the first degree.
Faye contradicts Mitchell's story about the 3 p.m. Brand phone call, and we find out a little more about the Winslow Company. Seems Philip and Bonnie were headed for a divorce, with Philip wanting to get out of the space race for good. There was a stock redemption agreement that mysteriously disappeared. Very strange. And then things get really good when Paul Drake takes the stress test.
How did Paul compare with Heller's results on the same test?
Well,
We'd already asked for a suspension of the test because of Mitch's erratic results.
Mr. Owen, how did the test compare?
well, Mr. Drake was comparatively better than Heller.
You mean an experienced subject like Heller didn't do as well as Drake?
Mr. Mason, these figures don't lie.
Out at the Winslow Lodge, Paul Drake catches Bonnie Winslow, and she's hopping mad. When Perry asks about the redemption agreement, the police enter stage right and say they have it.
I was telling Andy it pays to make visits to your office unannounced.
Berger, in court, calls Dr. Carey to testify to Heller's sanity, calls Fay to aver that Heller hated Brand, calls Kendall to testify that Heller discovered Philip Winslow's body, calls Bonnie Winslow to say Brand suspected Heller was blackmailing her, calls Lieutenant Anderson to testify to the fireplace contents, calls photographer Young to testify to the state of the crime scene, and calls Mr. Owen to testify to the exchange Heller and Brand had on the day of the murder. Then, for whatever reason, during a recess, Paul and Perry have a fight.
I'll have no part of it.
Why, you in...
I warn you, don't try to force me.
Force you?
I'll have no part of it.
Contextless sparring, huh? We get a summation from Berger, then Perry's case. Call Lieutenant Tragg. And now we find out what Perry and Paul were fighting about. It was just a stage scene so that Perry could spring this trap on Tragg.
The whole incident was staged for your benefit, Tragg. You never heard me say those words. Not now, not a few moments ago, and not at 12:30 in the interview room. You were listening to Jameson Sewell, an actor and impersonator. With the court's permission, we are going to demonstrate what the defense contends was the actual sequence of events on the night of the murder.
Next up is photographer Young. He gives Perry the chance to describe his theory of the crime. Berger remains silent while most of this develops.
To prove an hallucination, you need a witness to reality. At 8:45, the witness, you, Mr. Young, keeps his appointment, an appointment made by the murderer. You see the room carefully arranged to suggest a fight. You see the corpse. You leave. But the murderer had made a second appointment, one for 9 o'clock. Now, you must work fast. Step 3. Remove all evidence of a struggle or a killing.
Why? Your guess is good as mine. Eddie Lewis is up next. He had a backstory with Brand. He was the blackmailer.
Mitchell Heller sent you some biographical background material you'd asked for. How did it come to your office? In what kind of container, Mr. Lewis?
Well, it was in a company envelope with...
A company envelope with his signature on it? Was that the envelope in which you inadvertently or deliberately carried the redemption agreement when you kept your appointment with General Brand?
But that appointment was for 7:30. I was out of the lodge by 8. Brand grabbed the envelope away from me and threw it into the fire. But I swear to you, I didn't kill him!
Mr. Owens takes the stand. Here's the truth about Heller.
The truth is that the entire project was badly mismanaged before those test results became unreliable. You knew it was your fault, and you tried to protect yourself. It wasn't Heller's performance, but your deliberate tampering with the equipment that produced faulty results. Isn't that true, Mr. Owen? Little or no prospects of another job after being fired? It was then, wasn't it, Mr. Owen, you decided to steal the radically new electronic remote control valve Mitchell Heller had invented?
Go on.
I had nothing against General Brand, believe me. I hardly even knew the man. But I had to kill him. I put the blame on Mitch. I had to kill him. Don't you see, Mr. Mason? Don't you see?
Nope, I don't see, Mr. Owen. Meanwhile, back at Winslow's lab, a monkey's in the machine and Heller's just running the test. Paul has a chance to go back into the space capsule, but here's his response.
Well, if I'm not back in time for the test, just start without me.
Oh, Paul. Now, let's get trivial, shall we? Each episode in our trivia section, I give you 3 takeaways. A Paul is a subject worth investigating more. Adela is a deep dive on an actor or actress who guest starred in the episode. And finally, a Perry is something we learn about our intrepid hero. Our Paul for this episode concerns the private industry space race. No NASA here, folks. Sure, brand name checks, some great American astronauts.
Shepard and Grissom have penetrated space and returned safely. Colonel Glenn has successfully orbited the Earth 3 times.
But Winslow Aeronautics is really making a go at the moon? Our Paul prompt for this episode concerns which private companies gave NASA a run for its money in the early 60s space race. Tell us what you find, Pauls. Our Della for this episode could be none other than John Marley, a.k.a. Matthew Owen.
Don't you see, Mr. Mason? Don't you see?
Here's 10 about John. Born Mortimer Leon Marley, October 17, 1907, in Harlem, NYC, to Russian Jewish immigrant parents. Number 2, attended CCNY, but dropped out to pursue acting. Number 3, began acting by accident when he was chosen from the audience to play the sheriff in the play Icebound. Made his film debut in 1942, the film Native Land. He was a thug with a crowbar. Number 4, served in the U.S. Army Signal Corps during World War II and also worked with the USO. He was a stage director and directed little theater productions in several cities. Number 5, got a big break with his starring role in John Cassavetes' 1968 film Faces, for which he won the Best Actor Award at the Venice International Film Festival. Number 6, appeared in nearly 250 films and TV series. Most famous film role, of course, Phil Cavallari in Love Story in 1970 and Jack Woltz in The Godfather, 1972. He received an Academy Award nomination for that Love Story role. Number 7, prolific TV actor, appeared in numerous series, The Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock Hour, Hawaii Five-0, The Incredible Hulk. His most notable TV role was as D.W. Banner in The Incredible Hulk. Number 8, continued acting into the 1980s. His last film, On the Edge, was released posthumously in 1985. Number 9, married twice. First wife, Stanya Lowe, 1951 to 1972. He had 3 children with her. His second wife, Sandra Marley, married in 1975 until his death, also produced 1 child. Number 10, died May 22nd, 1984 at age 76 in LA following open heart surgery. He's buried at Cedar Park Cemetery in Emerson, New Jersey. Our Perry for this episode involves this very odd client recommendation our intrepid hero receives from Paul Drake.
I also think he's guilty as sin. I like him. Perry, he deserves the best. Yes. I promised I'd ask you to help him.
Wait a minute. If this is who Paul likes, what does it take for Paul not to like someone? And Perry complies with his pal's rec and promptly proves the guy innocent, while also showing that he's probably not cut out for space travel. Way to go, Perry! Our theme for this episode is both and, as in 2 things seemingly mutually exclusive can be true. First, General Brand doesn't think Heller belongs in a space capsule, and he genuinely respects Heller's qualifications and dedication. 2, Heller is genuinely skilled at his job, and he really is having psychological problems. 3, Eddie Lewis is a sleazy blackmailer, and he's completely innocent of murder. Number 4, Mrs. Winslow wants that redemption agreement, and she's kind of taken with the PE teacher drop and give me 20 ethos of General Brand. Number 5, Owen appears to be defending Heller, and he's actually the one who framed him for murder. Number 6, the police are generally trustworthy, and they also arrest the wrong person every single case. When you're living in a world with space travel, you gotta learn to both and it, rather than either or it. Now, let's get to our Perry proverb. Our Perry proverb comes from the moment when Paul Drake brings the indignant Mrs. Bonnie Winslow to Perry's office after catching her sneaking around her own lodge. She's furious about Paul's inexcusably high-handed behavior. Perry's response is classic Mason.
Mrs. Winslow, I thoroughly agree with you. Report him to the police. Or better still, contact the district attorney directly.
It's a perfect bluff call. Perry knows what he's doing. Mrs. Winslow has been caught red-handed searching for something at a crime scene. The last thing she wants is more police attention. This is Perry's version of the ironic, go ahead, I dare ya. Put up or shut up, Bonnie Winslow. She hears. Will you? Now it's time for a swig from the water cooler.
There is one thing I don't understand.
Go on, Paul.
Each episode in the water cooler, we give you deleted scenes. 3 bits from the episode that didn't quite make the script's final cut. Number 1, Mitchell Heller gets busted by detectives in an underground distilled water sting. It's a gateway drug, Mitch. Pretty soon you're sniffing Perrier or even worse, ODing on LaCroix. This is your brain on H2O. Number 2, Paul and the chimp from Winslow head out to L.A. for the night scene after a hard day's work on the aeronautics front. Watch out, that chimp can drink you under the table, Paul. Number 3, Perry stops court to let voice maestro Jameson Sewell do his impressions gag, a la Rich Little. Okay, now do Cary Grant. Judy. Groucho Marx. How she got into my pajamas, I'll never know. Our Paul from last time involved the fact that in the case of the melancholy marksman, we learned the grains of a handgun and rifle bullet could be the exact same. We asked our Pauls for some help. Dad Drake was on the case. He writes, quote, bullet weight of 158 grains, accurate for some rifles, and an overlap type of ammo with certain kinds of handguns. Handguns that could fire such a bullet, the .357 Magnum, the .44 Magnum, and a .22 long rifle. Key point, the chamber where the bullet rests before it's fired must be designed to handle the bullet in question. Rifle cartridges often use lighter, faster bullets for longer range and flatter trajectory. Handgun cartridges typically use heavier bullets to generate more force at close range. Close quote. Bingo, Daddy-O. Thanks. I also love the fact that Dad Drake included the force equals mass times acceleration, and he included the fact that he learned that in his high school physics class. Way to go, Libertyville High School! Longtime listener Tim Cree writes in to comment that the case of the angry astronaut, quote, wins the award for the weird semi-life-size models used in court. I suppose they also built a third-size models of all the food trucks parked across from Paul Drake's office that his appetite keeps in business single-handedly. Close quote. Right you are, Tim. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Do you have a comment on the episode or the pod in general? Why don't you drop me a line at theperrypod@gmail.com. Next time, Perry and Della finally get a kid after someone leaves a swaddled child in their office after hours. While Della plays mom, Perry tries to find the mother. Plus, there's an honest-to-goodness Hugh Marlowe sighting. Join us, won't you? Until then, this is Jonathan Searcy saying, keep on walking that Park Avenue beat!